The other thing to do is if you go to the top, you should just jump to the top and just hold it at the top. So jump, hold it there. Just hold it at the top. Hold it, 10, 9. All right, have a break. Welcome back to the Body Part series. In this episode, we're going to be diving into all things back training, from chin-ups, pull-downs, and rows. If you struggle to feel your lats and you struggle to feel your back during your training sessions, this episode is going to be a must-watch. So, when you're doing chin-ups and pull-downs, the main muscle groups we're going to be working are the lats. We are going to feel the biceps, there are secondary movers in it, but primarily is the lats. So, after a big session of chin-ups and pull-downs, you should be feeling all across here. And it's what helps bring that elusive V-taper. Now, all the principles we're going to discuss around the chin-up here are applicable to the pull-down. So, when it comes to your shoulder position, your chest position, where you're looking, it's all the same whether you're doing a pull-down or a chin-up. So, Ed, we're going to get you going on your first chin-up. If we're talking about perfect, we'll go for the perfect rep first. So Ed will grab the chin-up handles. He'll start from a dead hang. So that's important. And then lift up. There's a couple of things going on here. So, and then come down. So when he comes up, go up again. When he goes up, you can see immediately, and even at the top position, his shoulders are in a good position. He's not starting by yanking his shoulder blade into position, and he's not ending by kind of crawl over the bar. He's not doing that at the end, okay? What we see a common mistake when people are doing chin-ups is they'll start the rep by yanking their shoulder, and then they'll pull themselves either up or pull the bar down. Okay, we want to keep that chest up at all times. And here we go again. And when you initiate the movement, it's very subtle, but you see that subtle again? Just do that bit again. Do you see here what Ed does very subtly? He just brings his shoulder blades back and down. Okay, so you don't need to exaggerate it and turn it into two movements, but it's a very subtle movement of the scapula here, where he brings the shoulder blades into the right position to then do a proper pull. Okay, so execute it fully. Yeah. So what you can see here is he kind of blends the two movements together, and then as he comes up, his chest is always being lifted, and he's going all the way up. You also notice his legs are stable, and I don't know if you're squeezing your glutes, but squeezing your glutes can help kind of keep the kind of core stable and the body stable as well. The common mistake I want to talk about with the chin-up is in climbing the invisible ladder. Okay, so you would have seen, this is something that's very common. If you're getting your first rep, or you're still early on in, yeah. There you go, that's really well done, that. It's not usually how, you don't usually see it that well executed, but.
They probably normally come back.
Go on. Yeah, it's like that. And the next thing you know, you're doing an L sit at the top. Avoid that, okay? And if you're in your first 1 or 2, 3 reps of doing chin-ups, there are some exercises you can do to help build it up. So things like negatives, things like flexed hangs when you hold it at the top, and even things like using bands can really help. Have anyone tried a negative chin-up before? Yeah, so the basic premise is you jump to the top. You probably use a box to jump to the top, and then you just lower yourself as slow as possible, all the way. And you want to make sure the tension is equal all throughout the reps, so you don't just suddenly drop halfway through. Okay. Any other questions on chin-ups before we go into it? Any other pointers maybe missed?
I think it's just reiterating the range of motion. It's making sure at the top of the rep we're finishing with your upper arm by your side, and at the bottom we've got that straight arm. It's going to be really easy just to hang out in either the top half or just the bottom half, but making sure we're just using that full range of motion.
Is there any questions on the chin up there?
The bringing the shoulders up and back, I kind of that's exaggerated movement, right?
Yeah.
How do you do it?
Yeah, so if there's two movements here, there's this, and then there's that. What we want to do is just turn it into that one movement.
Before you start the movement, you bring the shoulders up, back, right?
Yeah, you're starting from a dead hang. So if you're in a dead hang position, you're fully there, then you come. Do you see what I did there? So it's that's dead hang. Yeah, so it's very subtle. We go from you're in a protracted position and then you bring it down.
I think just to link that to a really common mistake, when you are in that protracted position, it's really common just to start pulling straight away from here, and that's when it almost turns into a bicep exercise.
Yeah, and that's a common mistake people make, is they won't go all the way down. They'll kind of stop around here, either with a pull down where they're just doing this, or pull up, where you hear people say, I can do that 10, 15 chin ups. but they're only going halfway down. You want to get the full stretch because the lats really respond well to that. Any other questions on the chin up?
Just one. When you're at the top position, you have to really kind of let go of the entire position and then start again. Or use it like stop just before. So like when I do that stuff,
Yeah.
just before that, I feel like my mid back more than.
Yeah, I personally, when I do them, I stop like just before, like so I'm not completely stretched out. I'm keeping a little bit of tension on the back. Is that what you do as well? Or do you kind of...
I would say there always wants to be tension there, so you're going to fully extend. But if you go completely relaxed, so you're just completely hanging, then you're probably just hanging on with like connective tissue, like ligaments.
And if you've got a lot of weight, if you're doing weighted chin-ups as well, you don't want to be in that position too much.
You do the narrow grip. You do the narrow grip.
Yeah. To be honest, like from my perspective on chin-ups, it's just rotating the grips every now and then, and I don't really have a preference either or. For back development, I do, as in I think either rotating between a neutral grip and sort of just outside shoulder width is probably best. Going ultra wide to help you get a wide back is probably not going to happen because you do limit the range of motion. But I think it's been debunked quite a bit, and this is a big thing for all pulling, rowing motions. If your grip is giving up, you definitely want to use straps. Don't hesitate from doing that because remember we're training the back here, not the forearms. So go chest up, chest up. So what we want to do here, I'd actually think let's bring it a little bit closer. Because what we want to do is when we're doing the pull down, what we want to avoid is pulling it to like your stomach. Right. We want to effectively stop around here. Yeah, so you want to pull. So just come a little bit. Yeah, that should help you. We're going to touch. Just go a touch lighter, and we're just trying to fix the form first. So obviously this is not a normal pull down machine, but we'll do our best. So yeah. Then you're pulling it to there. Yeah, you're gonna pull to there, and then chest up. That's you see the difference? Your chest, your shoulders are down now. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. You should now suddenly feel it around your back. Perfect. And if you get a squeeze at the bottom, so squeeze at the bottom, and you should feel this real tighten up, right? And if you think about all you're doing here is really just pushing back against my arm. See the difference there? Perfect, nice. You normally feel lats anyway, not really. So just come over here. So what we're gonna do, think from this position here, just push back against my hand. Do you feel anything in your back there? Yeah. Okay. Where do you feel it? Your upper back or your? Okay. Now your hand straight. Turn it in like that. Now just push back against my hand. You feel your lat activate. Hold it in. Squeeze it. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. There. You feel something there? Yeah. Now you want to do that same thing when you're doing your pull down. So when you're coming up from here, you're coming in and you're squeezing in. Give that a go now.
Okay, so this is going to cover all basic row variations. We're going to do chest supported, but it's going to be exactly the same cues and things to think about, whether you're doing like a single arm row or whether instead of dumbbells, you've got a machine. It's all going to be the same stuff we're thinking about. So first thing, we want to set the bench up at the lowest incline we can without the dumbbells hitting the floor at the bottom, basically on there. So we can get other pieces of equipment. You'll see there's a bench back here actually, which is like a bench press, completely flat. It's just elevated, so you can be exactly horizontal to the floor. If you don't have that bit of kit, then you're just going to use a normal gym bench. I'm just going to go, like I said, to the lowest incline. The longer your arms, obviously the higher that incline is going to have to come. From there, we're going to take hold of the dumbbells.
That's a good place to set it down. There.
Yeah, so if you do find reaching it gets an issue, then just having it so the top of the dumbbells is leaning on the leg can be a nice little hack. So how we want to do the row is going to be a little bit determined by which part of the back we want to be hitting. So we go focus on the lats more, so really similar to what we were talking about with the pull down before. We're trying to keep our upper arm close to our side the whole time, and we're thinking about getting our elbow towards our side. So that top position, we're going to have our upper arm right next to our side, really nice and close, with your elbow in line with that midline of your body. We're not going beyond, we're just coming straight up to there, and you have about 90 degrees at your elbow. So if Akash just comes to the top and holds, so from here we see upper arm and nice and close to his body, and we're keeping in line basically with your torso on there. And then back down again. So as you can see, as he pulls up, he's also coming up and back. So if you start doing some where you're just going up, just do like a bicep-y kind of thing. As you can see here, he's still rowing, but there's loads of movement at the elbow and nothing really is happening at shoulder there. So that's great if you want to turn a row into a bicep exercise, but you're going to get absolutely or very little coming from your lat, which is basically why it's there. So we want to avoid that, and that's where we want to think about, if you just pause at the top, getting that 90 degrees at your elbow at the top. The more you close your elbow up at the top, the more bicep and the less back it's going to be. If you can keep that about 90 degrees, you're going to get a little bit of bicep, but your back's going to be the main thing getting hit there. The other really common mistake that's going to happen here is going to be bringing that chest off of the bench as you come up. So if you just do like one where you're just extending, like bringing chest up. There we go. So that's going to be really good for just moving the weight from A to B because we've got loads of muscles in there working. Your rectors, which run either side of your spine, are going to be really good for basically just extending it. But the more work they do, the more of that weight is being lifted by them and the less of it's coming from your lat. So instead of getting all this other stuff in to help, what you're going to do is keep chest right on the pad the whole time and then just focus on that upper arm moving back towards your side again. Cool? Now, if we want to target more of the upper back, so basically the muscles between your shoulder blades, so it's going to be like traps and rhomboids in there. Instead of having upper arm right by your side, we're going to start to bring that upper arm about 45 degrees out from your side. And at the top, Akash is going to think about squeezing his shoulder blades together as much as possible. So if you just do a couple of reps here, and then just pause at the top of this one. So both look like a row. The difference here is upper arm is now moved from your side out to about 45 degrees. And instead of thinking about just pulling your upper arm back to your side, we're now thinking about squeezing shoulder blades together as hard as you can. Okay, so really similar actually to that position when we were getting set for a bench press. You know, when we had shoulder blades down and back and we're squeezing them together. That's what we're going to be trying to achieve at the top of this rep. Once you can no longer get your shoulder blades moving towards each other, that's going to be the end of the set, and then you can just rest and go on from there. So there's no right or wrong as to whether you've got upper arm by your side or slightly further away. It's just making sure you're using the right one when you want. What we want to avoid is starting off with this upper back focus, and as we get tired, then starting to turn it into a lat movement, because again, it's just like doing 2 exercises on that. So in terms of really common mistakes, I think we've already touched on the bicep getting too involved by closing your elbow up too much. We've already covered chest coming off of the bench. The main other ones are going to be either just having the bench too high or too low for what you need. So setup should avoid that. But from there is then just being consistent with what you want, whether you're doing that lat variation or you're doing that upper back variation. So it should be pretty clear on Pro in the programs. It's going to say chest supported, dumbbell row, and then in brackets it'll either say lat or upper. And so lat is that up and back motion. That upper is going to be squeezing shoulder blades together. Cool. Does anyone have any questions on any row variations? Yeah?
You know, when you're at 45 degrees, is it the same effect that you go further to 90 degrees?
So I would say 45 isn't a magic number. Anywhere between 90 and 45 is probably going to be okay. So as long as you're squeezing your shoulder blades together, your upper back, that mid back is going to be working. However, the further away from your side you come, the less your lats can do, basically. So it's not making the upper back do more, but it's just taking away the lats from being going to help. So as long as you're 45, you're probably good. The further out you come here, you're probably just going to feel a bit weaker, and it's probably going to be a little less comfy, so your performance potentially isn't going to be as good. If you went from 45 up to like 50, I personally wouldn't really care. I wouldn't be screaming at you in the cohort. But that's probably just like a good thing to aim for on there.
So if you're at 90, is it completely upper back?
There's going to be a lot of that. Your rear
delts.
delts are going to be working there as well. But as long as you're squeezing shoulder blades together, that upper back is going to be
It's not like the bench where if you're out here, you're risking your shoulder health. This, you're still working. It's just going to be a different exercise. Mm-hmm. So each one is a different exercise, basically. Mm-hmm. Just keep it consistent. Mm-hmm.
So just one on the neck. Is there any way to press your neck anywhere, like the chin?
Yeah, so...
Is that thing like
Yeah. So I'd say if you're set like this with Akash and your head's off the ends, you want to try and keep that chin tucked so it's in like a neutral position. If that isn't comfy or the bench is too long or whatever, as he's done there, you just slide down and you basically just press your face into it. So
I just find it less stable when you're down here.
Yeah.
I personally like spreading my feet out wide and really pressing my hips into the bench. I'm squeezing my glutes into the bench. So I've got a really solid base. That's
towards the bench?
Yeah, I just find it makes you more stable. Otherwise, especially when you're going heavy, you can feel a bit wobbly.
So some of that will also vary on the length of the bench, the height, and also your own height.
Yeah.
So normally it's shorter individuals find it easier to get your face onto it, basically.
No higher than that. Yeah. Yeah, so just stop it there. Cool. If you push back against me, do you feel your lats? Where do you feel? Like, do you feel a trap?
Yeah, I've got that, yeah.
Yeah, so like put your trap, yeah, push back. Is anything coming? So I think what I notice is when you, even with your posture, you're kind of like that. You notice that. So we've got to work on like really pulling. See, the tendency is to really be forward.
Yeah.
We want to try and sit that back a bit more. Because when you go like this, when you go,
That's what I say, yeah, but I didn't feel it when you were holding it.
yeah, if you go like this, just do this with me, like hold here, hold it onto your lat here.
Yeah.
Now push your elbow down, like here, and see, like dig into like here. Can you feel something? Do you feel your lat? Can you contract
I feel what
it?
the lat is there, yeah.
Can you contract it? Can you squeeze something? So coming from here, very weakly, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It might be a good exercise for you to do, just like activate the drill. So if you come, see my hands like coming out here, right? 45 degree, push down. As I'm bringing it down, I'm squeezing this.
Did that before I rode.
Yeah, but even just at home, if you don't feel your lats when you train normally, sounds like potentially not, then just doing that activation drill, because you probably just not use that muscle much.
Yeah.
Not like this though, like this. Come out to in. Yeah. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you hit subscribe, share it with a friend. If you want to take the next step in your transformation journey, book a call with our enrollment coach by clicking the link in the description below. Can't wait to hear from you and seeing your transformation go to the next level.